the other ZVP.
Awesome, awesome.
Gestalt versus Jody.
Got it. All right.
With that win, it's tied now. Series is tied 1-1. We've seen Gestalt play a couple times. I know we've casted them before. They seem like a fairly decent or strong B team level Protoss.
Yeah, definitely. I've casted him, I think, our first week casting together, as well as the week when our teams played each other. Or, no. Gestalt is not on your team, is he?
No.
Never mind.
Jody's on my team. And I know Jody is a pretty competent, pretty strong level B team reserve as well. So I'm looking forward to some decent games here. So here in the bottom right of Circuit Breakers, we have the yellow Zerg from Team Supply Block, Jody High Roller, or Jody. And in the top left, we have the white Protoss, DWA Gestalt.
Very nice. And, whoa. Very early probe timing. He doesn't even have 100 minerals yet to build the pylon. I wonder when he sent that out. Did he see?
I didn't notice. A bit early.
Yeah. I mean, in general, it's not a big deal. I guess it's better to send it out early than too late.
Yeah, usually I think...
Ideally, you want to have exactly 100 when you send it out. But he was stuck at like 70 or something.
Yeah, on Fighting Spirit and Circuit Breaker, usually if you send it out around the 30 to 40 mineral mark, after your probe's building, then it'll arrive right around the time you have 100 minerals. You can start the pylon and go scout.
Alright, so it looks like our Zerg player is opting to go for an aggressive 9-pool speed build. So it looks like Gestalt's Forge is on the way. I think what's going to be pretty crucial is he cannons appropriately and blocks. So that no Zergling all-in or Zergling run-by happens.
Yeah, he's definitely going to scout this at time and be aware. He's going to see the early pool and the early gas. We'll have to see if that triggers him to make enough cannons, or how many cannons he has. So we are seeing 6. He does see it, okay. I would like to see one more cannon. I'm not sure I mean, you can hold it with one cannon, but you got to pull a fair number of probes and block it up if you're going to do this.
Yeah, so at that point, I think it's safer to just go for the second cannon.
For sure. I normally just make the second cannon if I see a 9-pool speed. It doesn't really set you back too much, and you don't have to pull as many probes, so they can keep mining.
Interesting. So he's getting a gateway instead of using it for a nexus as well.
Yeah. Although Jody is kind of chasing this probe around instead of being aggressive with these Zerglings.
Yeah, it's a bit unusual. So I think with this type of build, you want to kind of be a little bit more aggressive. Like at most, you have one Zergling chasing this probe.
Yeah, exactly. Like by having all 6 Zerglings chase around like this, the Protoss can feel more comfortable knowing you're not sending those lings at their base, and they can get away with this one cannon.
Yeah.
More easily. If you send one to chase it and then send the other 5, you're putting pressure on and kind of forces the Protoss to make that second cannon.
Yeah, because basically what Jody's doing here is he's using 6 Zerglings to do the job of 1 or 2 Zerglings. And in that case, you might as well just have the 1 or 2 Zerglings and 2 extra drones.
For sure. I think Gestalt has misplaced the Nexus here too at his natural.
I can't tell.
Yeah.
But he said he's transferred his probes a little early. I mean, the Nexus is it's about halfway done, so I'm not sure what he's doing there.
Yeah, it's on Circuit Breaker. You got these 4 little, I don't know, items on the ground to kind of show you where to place the Nexus. And this one's placed over a hex.
Oh man.
That's a bit unfortunate. It's going to make his mining a little more inefficient.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I didn't even realize, that there's these markers that kind of show you where to put it. I never knew.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, so that means the next is a little off. Nice block. I mean, he got the probes there in time.
Yeah.
He's got a cannon. So Jody's not going to really be able to get in at this time.
So, I'm not too sure on the math, but I'm pretty confident. Like, it would be better to have 2 cannons, and these probes get to mine the entire time. Like, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the trade-off is that you can mine more than 150 minerals with these 3 probes. You know, because they've been here for maybe a minute, and the amount of minerals that a probe can mine in a minute is, I'm sure, well enough to cover the cost of a cannon.
Yeah, and actually, Python and I casted the week 5 games of Gestalt. I wanted, going back a little bit to what you said about the gateway before the Nexus.
Mm-hmm.
We noticed Gestalt made the gateway before Nexus in those games as well. In both cases, you do want to get your Nexus up ahead of time, or first. Just to get that eco rolling right away.
Yeah, and another comment I want to point out, even though, so compared to the games we casted last with Mango, obviously Gestalt is a little bit more experienced and his tech is a lot quicker, but they have very similar problems in the sense that their saturation at their natural base is really poor.
It's still earlier in this game too, so he's still making probes. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. It's not exactly the same situation, but at this point, there's like 5-6 probes mining minerals of the net. You know, and well, actually, there's 4. 2 of them are AFK. But
Just a little thing to notice or work on.
yeah, for sure. So you know, at any level, you could always be making more probes, basically. You know, I'm sure if you take players like myself or Snipe, or even Dragon, he can probably benefit from making more probes. But
so let's see. Otherwise, I mean, I've liked Gestalt's build. He got the Stargate. He's getting leg speed. +1 is on the way. Looks like +1 may have been started a bit late because leg speed is like at the exact same spot and it's still early on. Normally they're going to be finishing up around the same time.
and I think we missed it, but did we mention that this is a 3-hatch Hydra sort of build?
No, we haven't. Actually, we haven't.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of Hydras. There's like 9 Hydralists sitting at the front. If they snipe this one cannon, oh, come on. Jody has the timing. He can take advantage of this, but what is he doing? No.
Yeah, if he's just sniped this cannon, he could just pretty much win the game
man,
right here.
You gotta at least try.
He's giving Gestalt time to get these extra cannons up right now.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the type of like killer instinct type stuff that higher levels have. Like they're always looking for ways to get ahead, always looking for opportunities to kill the opponent.
So now he's got 2 cannons, 3 cannons up.
This is too late. He had 30 seconds maybe, or the a minute or whatever as these cannons were morphing.
So yeah, as Jody, if you're gonna do the 3-hatch Hydra and you notice there's only 1 cannon, like go ahead and pounce on that right away. I don't know, maybe he was waiting for some Hydra upgrades, but if it's that weak, you can go ahead and just pick off that cannon and pick off the other cannons while the upgrades are still finishing, because there's not a lot Protoss can do about it. I mean, as Gestalt, you gotta scout for the 3-hatch Hydra earlier. If you see it coming, then start getting those cannons up right away.
Oh, and something for Gestalt to know, or he probably knew this, but he didn't pay attention. He had 2 Zealots queued up in the gateway. I'm not sure. I don't think you get refunded when your gateway dies and you have units queued up. So if that's the case, he kind of lost 200 minerals for free.
But I mean, Jody could have won earlier with that.
That's the key takeaway. Yes.
So far, I mean, both players are fine. The supplies are a little close, which might favor Zerg a little bit. We're seeing him throw down or get another hatchery up. Okay, 2 more hatcheries up, so he's going up to 5 hatches. Good solid standard play here. He's got his lair. Looks like he's getting OV speed, I think that is, and lurker upgrades.
Oh,
So
wow.
pretty solid stuff coming out of Jody here.
I think that's a pretty slow lurker transition. I mean, because he went for the Hydra aggression so fast, I thought he'd go for lurkers much quicker.
But with 3-hatch Hydra, you normally don't get a lair right away.
Well, I think the lair has been done.
Have the lair. Yeah, it's been done for a while.
Yeah.
So it might be a bit slow. But in either case, he should be able to set up a contain here. Like, I don't know if Storm has finished upgrading yet, or if he even started. First High Templar just coming out, so he's not going to have a Storm yet. He's not really going to be able to do anything to push these Hydras back, while Jody continues to macro up.
Something a bit unlucky that I want to point out as well. So it looks like what Jody was going for, he wasn't going for the kill. He just made these Hydras to kind of snipe the wall. Ideally, I think what's most important from the Zerg's perspective when they want to do something like this, they want to stop the +1 upgrade. So they want to kill the Forge ASAP. But in this case, you know, he wasn't able to kill the Forge either. So that's a bit unlucky for him.
We do see the first lurker being morphed now, our first couple of lurkers back here. So he's gonna get his contain up, and I mean Protoss is pretty far from getting out. Oh no, the Robo's just about done now, or just finishing up now. So he should be able to get obs out. His army's a little small still, like they're pretty much even in supply here.
Yeah, I mean at this point, unless Jody decides to kind of send his army. Oh, what happened?
He just flew all the Corsairs over the Hydras at the net. Lost them all.
Completely missed it. I'm
That's
sorry.
Unfortunate.
I'm sorry,
Well,
Jody.
he has 2 more at his net, but losing, you don't want to lose those saves if possible. Like, make sure you're keeping on top of that, keep track of them.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard. There's a lot of things to do at once. I realize, but you're gonna be flying near Zerg's bases.
Yeah, it looks like the observatory is done, and unless Jody kind of pulls all of his army, because he has a bunch sitting at his natural, if this comes and reinforces a contain, it might be able to kind of prevent Gestalt from ever taking the third base. But no, Gestalt's moving out right now, and really nice storm as well.
Oh, gets the 2 of the lurkers in that other storm as well.
Oh, does he have one more storm? Oh, these lurkers are so low.
But the first ob is just coming out now. Well, he's got a Dragoon stuck, fortunately. Anyways. So, with what Jody has here now, Gestalt easily kill it, clear it. But Jody's bringing up some more units now, making a bunch more lurkers in the middle of the map. So, I would like to see, you know, him kind of clear what Jody has here before all this other stuff comes to reinforce it, make it that much stronger.
Yeah, and something worth noting is Gestalt's army is still very, very Zealot heavy. So it's going to take a bunch of damage from these lurkers. Yeah, the Zealots are all pretty highly damaged.
Oh, and they're
and
all
you don't want to be
into the
attacking into
lurkers.
this. No.
Oh, no. Cross the bridge into a bunch of lurkers. Oh, that hurts.
And the obs get sniped
Oh,
too. Yeah,
We just
GG's.
see the GG. I mean, he's definitely behind. I don't know. It's still playable from this point, but he's definitely behind.
I think
Jody
it was
doesn't
a
have fourth yet.
It was probably a combination of him, you know, kind of unsuccessfully breaking out of this contain, as well as having 1,800 minerals and no third. So he probably felt like it wasn't. He probably felt too behind in that position.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate, but GG. 1-0 for Jody.
Oh,
played.
so from what I understand, when you're facing against 3-hatch Hydra, you don't really want to be massing a lot of Zealots, especially if you think that a Lurker contain is going to be the follow-up, because then you want to have a bunch of goons instead. And I think if Gestalt had like 10, 12 more goons instead of his dozen or so Zealots, he would have had a lot easier time breaking out.
For sure.
Oh, and Snipe, this is the second game then?
Yep.
Alright, awesome.
We'll see if Gestalt could bring it back here, force the game 3, or if Jody will take it down.
Yeah, so I think a pretty common trend in the games that we cast, the player that wins the first game usually takes the series.
Yeah, there's been a couple, I think, where whoever won the first game, or someone won the first game and lost the next 2, but for the most case, yes.
Well, that's true. I'm one of them, actually. But
That's true.
yeah, in general, I think whoever wins the first game, they generally have an edge going into the second game.
For sure.
Because you obviously have two games ahead of you that and you only need one to take the series.
Definitely. So Tau Cross on the left here, we have Blue Zerg from Team Supply Block, Jody High Roller, Jody. And then at the bottom right here, we have the red Protoss from CWA Gestalt.
Very nice. Very nice.
We'll have to see how the wall is.
Yeah, because I can tell you right now, I'll be honest with you, Snipe. My walls on this map are terrible. Absolutely terrible. I have no idea what I'm doing. But
I don't have the best walls on this map either.
yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to using the resource that Curiosity provided. That should save me a lot of grief in my PvZs in the future.
So it looks like Jody went for another 9 pool here. 9 pool gas.
Yeah, which I think does make sense because maybe he knows that walling on this map is a bit more difficult. So you know, having the early speedlings might help him end the game, you know, outright in the first few minutes.
He might be comfortable with this build too. He's gonna see the wall right away here from Gestalt. He's gonna know where it is. If he can take advantage. And we do see the 6 legs being made.
Hey, what's this probe doing?
Yeah, maybe he's just hiding it to scout later. We'll have to see if Jody sends the links to the wall right away this time.
What's Gestalt doing?
Because he killed the probe.
Maybe I'm being too suspicious, but I see him hide the probe in the corner. I'm like, what's he doing?
It's possible. Yeah, Jody's gonna go find it anyway and kill it. I mean, I've done this before. Just like leave the probe somewhere and then scout with it later instead of trying to micro it around.
Very nice.
While doing other stuff. So.
Oh yeah, and it looks like the wall from Gestalt is very much on point. I think this is the ideal wall in this position.
Maybe. I haven't like looked at the ideal wall, but this wall definitely looks a lot better to me than.
Yeah. So if this wall is correct, then only this area by the to the left of the forge, that's the only place the Zerglings can run in from. So.
Yeah.
So pretty effective.
Between the forge and gateway there, I'm pretty sure it's tight, and looks like top of the gateway might be tight as well. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh man, I hope this probe is blocking.
Again, we see the 1 cannon though versus the 9 pool speed. I know the probe kind of delayed the links from coming again. I know I've done this. If I see the links are delayed, I'll just use 1 cannon or I'll cancel one of my cannons. But if the links are coming right away, get that 2nd cannon.
Well, very nice.
And as we see here, because he didn't.
Oh, I was so lucky.
He got 2 links in.
Wait a minute. What? Gestalt. Oh, he's pulling all. No, what? No.
That's a lot of probes to pull.
Okay, he didn't have to do that. Yeah, because he messed with his econ on his own.
A lot by that.
Yeah, jeez. Like at this point, he can just kind of stay in the mineral line, and if the Zerglings ever come, that's when you kind of drill and do your damage. Because, I mean, unless the Lings want to risk taking a bunch of probe damage, they don't. I mean.
Oh, and he's losing these gas probes too.
Oh man, just wait for the Zealot.
One thing I see Best do in these situations, like if he gets a couple links in, he won't pull all his probes, but he'll pull a few. So like against 2 links, he might pull like 4 or 5 and kind of just zone out the Zerglings, keep them away, and if they get too close to anything else, he can kill them. So while it still is hurting his economy a little bit, it's not as much as like.
Yo, so seven probe kills so far.
Oh.
Yeah, this is looking. That's so much
really
damage.
Unfortunate. Yeah, that's like. Gestalt made a 2nd cannon now, but if he had that 2nd cannon before the Lings got in, they wouldn't have got in. Or if he had a couple more probes pulled to block, they wouldn't have got in.
Oh wow.
And I mean, every Protoss knows this pain. They feel. I feel for him. You know, a couple of Zerglings get into your base, and all of a sudden you just lose so much.
11 probes. These are hero Zerglings, Snipe. 11 probes. And maybe one suggestion for Gestalt. Instead of making that 2nd cannon at the front, he should have made it in his net. Because then that puts a timer on the Zerglings. Like, they can't be harassing constantly like that. And if they do try to attack the cannon, that's when you drill and you kill these 2 Zerglings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think purposely pulling like those 10 drones versus building a cannon in his mineral line. That might have cost him.
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, so it looks like the 2-0 streak for all of our matches today continues.
It's true.
Yep, and it looks like Team Supply Block is up 2-1 in the B team games.
Very nice. Very